Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of uh, Quizzing with the Comedians. This is the first semi-final. We started with 32 people. We now have 16, and by the end of this match, we'll also say farewell. We'll bid farewell to 3 people, and then one of the following 4 will qualify for the finals. Okay, this is an interesting lineup. All 4 of them obviously have played really well in the quarterfinals, and that's why they are here. I'm going to call each one of them very soon. But before that, I decided to, since I get a lot of messages on like social media and here in the chat and like from people in person about various things associated with Quizzing with the Comedians. I usually answer all of them in the finale, but then I wondered that monologue can get too long, so I've distributed those small answers in 4 amongst these 4 semifinals. So let me answer a question first, and then I'll start the proceedings of today's semifinal. One question that a lot of people message me is that do you think people cheat in Quizzing with Comedians? Because it's possible. It's also quite easy to do in an online edition. Think about like using resources like Google or chat or etc. I have a very simple answer to that. My answer is that I don't think anyone does that because I have a very simple logic. The one thing that is common to every participant ever who has come to Quizzing with Comedians is that I know all of them in person, and that's literally the only criterion in some sense to be a part of this. And anyone who is a part of Quizzing with the Comedians is someone who is professional, who is a professional writer or comedian or like any other professional. And then everyone understands as professional the amount of work that goes into creating these tournaments. If you as an audience member or as a participant has ever made a single quiz question, you will know the amount of effort that creating this entire tournament with more than 280 questions takes. It takes sleepless nights on my part, on some of my quiz club juniors who are helping me on their part, and there is a whole lot of team which is doing work 24/7 to ensure that the tech and everything else is running. Having said all that, you will be the lamest person in the world if you come to this quiz and you start Googling or you start taking help. And I can't imagine anyone on this lineup to be that lame. So that is my simple answer for the messages that I keep getting about, using unfair means and all that. Okay, that was my answer to this. And then I think now we can start on that note, on that honest quizzing note, we can start our semi-final. The first semi-final has four people who have had different rights towards their road to semi-final. I'm gonna call them one by one, and our first contestant is someone who truly OP'd, as you say right now, overpowered everyone else in his quarterfinal. He was he won by a very handsome margin, and I mean so he's an easy ride in quarterfinal. Let's see what happens to him today. The other special thing about him is that I can actually see him on my left, like his building. So I can literally say all the best like this to him. Give it up for Anirban Das Gupta.
Hello.
Back.
I can see your building as well.
Okay, Anirban, how are you feeling today about semi-final?
Very good, because this time I had a good quarterfinal, so I am like feeling a little better. Last time it was horrible, and this Vishal Dayama was there in that semi-final also. The last time he's back again to take my case, but I'm very happy after the quarterfinal.
Cool. All the best, Anirban. I'm going to call the next contestant now. He's one of the best participants we've had in Quizzing with Comedians since the time we started. He was a finalist in the first edition. He has shown his knowledge in every single field of questions that's been thrown at him. He plays the humble card, but eventually ends up scoring the highest points in most of the quizzes that he's part of. Give it up for Neville Shah.
Okay, so my name is proof enough. I'm done here. This is guaranteed. So, KV, one thing you've taught us is position is also very important despite infinite bounds, since there is no pounce as an option. Okay, so there's Anirban on one side, there's Vishal on the other, and then there's Nihal in the middle. So I'm only getting to answer directs. That's for sure. There is no like passing and coming to me. So
Neville, okay, I hear you, but on semi-final, literally every contestant can say the same thing. Like
Yeah.
Nihal can say, I have Anirban on one side, Vishal on the other side, and I have Neville on the other side. I'm only
Hey,
getting
but
direct. The
Neville will
competition
not
has
answer,
reached
na?
that level now.
Dude,
Come on.
Neville is just paying tribute to Liverpool owners who under promise and over deliver.
Arey, dude, also age. Yeah, age is a thing. I can't remember names and all. Like, so I have to really like. I'm shaking right now. It's not even funny. See,
Let's see. Our next contestant is making his debut. Like he made his debut in this edition. Had one of the best quarterfinals that we had in this edition. Qualified on the last question. All last question, like it was him between him and Sumukhi, and in some sense, Prem Chand is one of his favorite authors. Helped him after all these years to qualify for the semi-finals of KVizzing with the Comedians. Give it up for Nihal Parash.
हे मैं सिर्फ हंसने आया हूँ, स्माइल करने आया हूँ.
what is this
Fans
fucking
of
humble
everybody.
brigade, dude?
So,
Humble brigade. Humble brigade.
Humble brigade.
Okay. With that, we come to the last contestant. He's an ex-semi-finalist. He was semi-final in the first edition, and is one of the strongest contestants, as Neville said, in this semi-final. Give it up. In fact, he said that his glasses broke before the semi-finals. And another friend of mine said it's the lamest excuse ever after dog ate my homework. Give it up for Vishal Dayama.
I just want to also point out that Anirban has not moved since 104 days.
That is true.
Anirban has been there on the couch that's behind that chair for 104 days.
Wow. Okay. All the best to all of you. Let's start with the quiz now. Question number 1 to Anirban. There are allegedly over 200 of these still present here. They've been lying there for over 30 years without anyone recovering or removing them. The most famous one is called green boots, which by many accounts belongs to the Indian Sewang Paljor, who died here in 1996. What is being talked about? Okay, let's look at all the hints. Allegedly, by some calculation, there are around over 200 of these still present here at some place. Okay, they've been lying there for over 30 years, and no one has recovered them, removed them, etc. One of the most famous ones out of these over 200 of them is something that has been nicknamed green boots. Green boots, for some reason. And by most accounts, but no one can actually prove it. Like by most accounts, green boots actually belongs to Indian Sewang Paljor, who died here in 1996. What are we talking about?
Is this the top of Mount Everest?
Yeah, great start to the quiz. We're talking about Mount Everest.
Dead bodies on Mount Everest.
Dead bodies, no? Yeah, dead bodies on Mount Everest. 10 points to Anirban. Okay, great start to the first question of the semi-final. 10 points to Anirban. Next, direct to Neville. Toy Story 3, as we know, is a 2010 American computer animated comedy movie by Pixar. Okay. In case you haven't seen the movie, I will just revise some of the important points. That in the movie, the toys are forced to leave their home, and then they find themselves at a place called Sunnyside Daycare. Okay, here they are imprisoned and routinely mistreated. Near the film's climax, there is a scene that looks like the toys are all about to perish in an incinerator. As a result of such scenes, some people have called this movie an allegory to a very grave event from 20th century. Okay, what was the event? The extra hint is that American thrash metal band Slayer has a song called Angel of Death that's also some way associated or is about that event. Okay, so let's look at all the hints. We're talking about Toy Story 3. We saw the basic plot of Toy Story 3, and we also saw that near the film's climax there is a scene that looks like all the toys are about to perish in an incinerator. They were imprisoned, routinely mistreated. And because of these scenes in Toy Story 3, a lot of people believe that Toy Story 3 is an allegory to some event from 20th century. What was that event?
Okay, I have two guesses, of which I'm just going to go with the one that's given me a hint. Is it the Jews in the camps being in Hitler during the camp? The Jews
Fair,
in the camps, basically. Okay.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Holocaust.
Holocaust is the right answer. There's a lot of people think Toy Story 3 is an allegory to Holocaust because there are toys, they're imprisoned, they're mistreated, etc., etc., etc. So
No,
great answer.
incinerator made it clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incinerator. Great answer. Great answer by Neville. Great start to the quiz. Next question to Nihal. Slightly long question. Riaz Amlani is the CEO of Impresario. Okay. Impresario is a company that owns brands like Social, the Cafe Bar, etc. But he started his entrepreneurial journey with a cafe called X. Okay, Cafe X. More about Cafe X. Unlike other Starbucks cafe, sorry for the typo. Unlike other Starbucks cafe, X was based on a Kawa Khana model, in which cafes were basically remodeled residences where coffee and shisha were served together. This model became really popular, and X and Amlani both became successful. So, like the cafe and Amlani, both of them became successful. Oh, suddenly the sound is gone. Thank you so much. Interestingly, Amlani started his career as a shoe salesman. Okay. So, because of Amlani's journey from being a shoe salesman to a CEO and like entrepreneur associated with cafes and all that, one might say that his journey is Y to X. Okay. And Y to X is a nice wordplay kind of a thing. Okay.
Yeah. No more hints.
There's a nice ring to it. Okay, where Y is the name of a footwear brand. So you need to identify X, Y. So you need to identify what you call this journey from dash to dash. And the first one of them is a footwear brand. The other one is a cafe name or something to do with coffee. Footwear, coffee, dash to Y.
बस वरुण बस केवी बस
मैंने एक्स्ट्रा कुछ भी ऐड नहीं किया.
मैं अभी साबित करता हूँ कि सबसे वीकेस्ट कंटेस्टेंट क्यों हूँ मैं. यार ये Y2X.
ओके.
क्या ये rags to riches स्टोरी कुछ हो रहा है क्या?
नहीं, not rags to riches. Going to Vishal.
I'll take a guess. Bata to barista word play.
From Bata to barista. Good guess. इसी डायरेक्शन में सोचना है. Anirban.
एक सेकेंड. So X is ex barista, and Y. Oh man.
Yeah, from if X is barista, then dash to barista. Like, do you have an answer?
No.
Okay. Anirban, no points to Anirban. Passing to Neville.
From mochi to mocha.
Mochi to mocha. That is correct. Started with a footwear brand called Mochi, and then started a cafe brand called Cafe Mocha. So his entrepreneurial journey can be said, like his journey in life can be said from Mochi to Mocha. Okay, Mochi to Mocha. Great answer by Neville. Beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. So that's a brand question, which Neville struck. Next direct will be again for Nihal. Nihal, this is an etymology question. In the 18th century, so the answer will be an English phrase. Okay, in the 18th century, swine farmers, as we know, like something to do with pigs, often sold suckling pigs, like small pigs, in cloth bags to customers. Okay, a popular scam of those days was to replace the pig with something else, with an X, and denying accountability for it later. Okay. One advice to all of you is ignore that "and." That does not mean that the X starts with a vowel. It's "and" because X starts with the E sound. Okay. The only way to confront the fraudsters, the only way you could confront these fraudsters was catching them red-handed by doing something. What was done to catch these fraudsters? That is still a phrase that we use in today's English. Okay. I'll just repeat the main clues.
Do we use ये किसका है? मेरा थोड़ी है।
नहीं मेरा है।
निहाल का. I will just repeat the main clues. 18th century में swine farmers used to uh, they were supposed to put small pigs in cloth bags and give it to customers. But one of the scam was they used to replace the pig with something else, and then they'll be like, मुझे नहीं पता कैसे हो गया ये, कब change हो गया, क्या हो गया. Only way to catch them red-handed was to do something and prove that it's not pig, it's something else. What was being done, and this gave rise to a phrase that is still used in today's English.
यार मतलब phrase मुझे मतलब क्या वो क्या पिग को कैट से बदल रहे थे क्या? Was it cat? It rained.
Okay,
क्या ना?
and then and then what is the phrase?
It rained cats and something ना?
It rains cats and dogs. Okay, I might come back to you. I'll have to go to Vishal because it's not rain.
क्या है वो? It rained cats and some.
It rained cats and dogs is what you're trying to say. Cats and dogs. It's not raining cats and dogs. Going to Vishal.
हाँ मतलब cats. वही there's only one phrase. और कितना बारिश होगा?
No, ठीक है. Nothing to do with बारिश. Going to Vishal now.
Pass.
Okay, passing to Anirban.
Cat out of the bag.
Absolutely correct. Letting the cat out of the bag is the phrase that we are looking for. This is how you used to catch them. You used to let the cat out of the bag. But I will give part points to Nihal for making cat, but the wrong phrase. I'm going to give 2 to Nihal and 8 to Anirban for the exact phrase. Let the cat out of the bag is the phrase I was looking for.
I had skinning the dead cat. It's skinning the cat and then catching the cat.
Right. X was cat.
X was cat. Correct. X was cat. X was cat. That's why Nihal gets 2 points for cat, and then Anirban gets bulk of the points for the exact phrase I was looking for. Okay, this is direct for Neville.
X was a proprietary software from versions 1 to 4.08 and 9.x. It was a flagship product of the company behind it. So the company that used like this kind of product tha, this was their main product. And it was a dominant software in its category. So the category in which this software belongs, this was the dominant software in terms of usage share in the 1990s. So it was the biggest name in that category in 1990s. But by around 2003, it almost disappeared. Okay, why did it disappear in 2003 is because increased usage of Microsoft software in the same category. So basically someone was dominating 90s, but in 2003, Microsoft came with their product and this one almost disappeared. This software, also the extra hint there is software was one of the reasons because of which Microsoft also faced an antitrust litigation. That's an extra hint. But what famous 90s proprietary software are we talking about?
Please pass.
क्या बोला विशाल?
Please pass.
Oh man.
Shut up, guys. Is it Netscape? Is it the browsing thing Netscape and Internet Explorer came and fucked them? Thank God. Jesus.
10 points to Neville. It is Netscape Navigator. Netscape was the biggest internet browser. And then Microsoft came and destroyed Netscape. Okay, cool. Great answer. Neville gets full 10 points. Next direct is to Nihal. We segue from Microsoft here and again go back to Microsoft. Microsoft is actually headquartered in Redmond near Seattle in Washington, USA. Okay. Located just outside of Seattle, Medina, another place in Seattle, is home to one wealthiest man of the world, Bill Gates, and a number of other Microsoft bigwigs and other tech entrepreneurs and telecom magnates. A lot of people basically stay here. The town is also the home of $91 million estate of X, whose company Y is also headquartered in Seattle. Just tell me, who are we talking about? I don't want Y, but if you know X, you obviously know Y. That's why I have not asked Y. Let's repeat all the hints. So Microsoft is headquartered in Seattle, which is in Washington, USA. Just outside the main big city of Seattle, there's a place called Medina where a lot of wealthy people live. Like it's the posh of the posh kind of a place where Bill Gates himself lives and the other a lot of corporate honchos live basically. But there is one particular house in this town which is really popular and is it's valued at $91 million. That entire state. It belongs to someone who owns another company, and the other hint is that that company is also headquartered in Seattle. So who are we talking about?
I have no clue, but is it Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook?
Not Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. Going to Vishal.
एक सेकंड.
साला अनिर्बान को मालूम है, मेरे को मालूम है, अनिर्बान को मालूम है आंसर.
मजे में है ना.
Once wealthiest man of the world, Bill Gates.
Vishal.
Elon Musk, SpaceX.
Not Elon Musk, SpaceX. Going to Anirban.
Is it Jeff Bezos?
Yes.
It's Jeff Bezos and
Yeah.
Amazon. 10
साले
points.
अनिर्बान एक तो पास
Oh,
कर दे.
अरे यार.
आदमी लिवरपूल फैन है, पास करने की तो तेरी ये होना चाहिए ना.
ये हमारा फॉर्मर क्लाइंट.
Yes, everyone, please watch
अफसोस.
streaming on Amazon Prime.
Chacha Vidayak.
And oh, God,
चाचा भी था क्या?
I can
Got my
watch,
specials.
two specials from Neville Shah on it.
मैं प्रमोशन बहुत करता हूँ इनका.
So, Anirban gets 10 points on this. Jeff Bezos is correct, and Amazon is headquartered in Seattle.
Fuck, now there'll be some
Please,
sick
next
history
direct.
question.
Next, direct to Neville. X is the winter capital of a North Indian state and is also known as Mini Lhasa.
Yeah.
That's the first hint. X is believed to have been a contender to be the summer capital of British India a century ago. Okay, when we were still under British occupation, they were deciding on what their summer capital should be, and this was one of their contenders. That's the second hint. And the third hint is that this city or this place also contains the capital of a certain government in exile currently. So there are 3 hints, 4 hints in some sense. This place is the winter capital of a North Indian state, also known as Mini Lhasa, was a contender for being the summer capital of British India long time back, and is also the capital of a certain government in exile currently. What place are we talking about?
यार state मालूम है यार. Is it Manali?
Not Manali. Going to Nihal.
That's it. It's done.
Dharamshala.
Beautiful answer.
Beautiful.
It is Dharamshala is correct. 10 points to Nihal.
Those were my 2 choices, dude. And Mini Lhasa, I thought, money, they couldn't pronounce it, so it became Manali or some crap like that.
No, Dharamshala is also as the capital of Tibetan government.
Government in exile.
Yeah. गोली मार दो यार.
Right? And was Nihal makes his first 10 pointer. And next direct will go to Vishal. Vishal, this is your direct. The word X means a strong opponent or a rival. Okay. Usually used to describe the main antagonist in a story. Usually one that the protagonist is not able to defeat easily. Okay. It is derived from the name of the Greek goddess of revenge and justice. What is the word in English that we are talking about? Let's look at all the hints. Literally, it means a strong opponent or a rival. It's usually used to describe the main antagonist in a story, or essentially the one who the protagonist cannot defeat easily. The origin of the word lies in Greek mythology. The Greek goddess of revenge and justice is actually called this. What
Is it Nemesis? Is it Nemesis?
It's Nemesis. Great answer. 10 points to Vishal. Now everyone has a 10 pointer on board. It is Nemesis. Great. Wow. Super. Super. Everyone is on board now. Vishal gets 10 points on Nemesis.
This fucking Dharamshala is going to be my demise, I'm telling you.
Vishal got Nemesis, which means we go to Anirban. Anirban, this is your direct. Another fun connect question. Tell me which actor has had famous cameos in all these movies. Okay, the movies that you see on your screen. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Eurotrip, Thor Ragnarok, Deadpool 2. Basically, in all these movies, he's not one of the lead actors or something. He has a very small, like just a special appearance cameo kind of a thing. But they're all very famous because he's a famous actor making these funny cameos in these famous movies. Very direct question. Which actor are we talking about?
ये exhaustive है क्या? नहीं ना?
नहीं. बिल्कुल भी exhaustive नहीं है, but these are the 4 like most famous examples of this. Or it's not a trick, it is an actor. Like don't think he like Warren Buffett or like Spielberg.
अरे Jay and Silent
Martin
Bob
Scorsese.
Strikes
Who is
Back
not
देखा ही नहीं है यार.
actor.
What?
I was saying this is a legit main actor that we are talking about. That's an extra hint I'm giving all of you. So don't think ऐसा कुछ like some Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg type. Cool. Anirban?
My guess is Adam Sandler.
Not Adam Sandler. Going to Neville.
My guess is only because of the first name on Jay and Bob Strikes Back, our best friend Matt Damon.
It is Matt Damon. It's correct.
Oh.
Matt Damon it is. 10 points to Neville. Matt Damon. This is from Thor Ragnarok. Okay. Going to Nihal now. Nihal, you order it. I'm talking about some pop culture reference, and this is the root or where it comes from. Basically, World's Finest is a comic where Batman, Robin, and Superman team up and go on various adventures, whether it's fighting Nazis or in this particular comic's case, there is an alternate universe where Batman thinks that Superman as a kid murdered his father. Okay. In issue 153 of this series, Batman reveals his plan of taking revenge on Superman for this, and Robin tries to talk him out of it. As soon as during this conversation, something happens, and we've all seen what happens after this. What pop culture reference follows this conversation? Okay, I will just quickly repeat what we're talking about. We're talking about a comic series where Batman, Robin, and Superman all team up and they fight Nazis. They do a lot of things, but something happened. But since this is an alternate universe, Batman thinks that Superman killed his father when he was a kid. So he basically goes to Robin and he explains that I'm going to take revenge. मैं Superman से बदला लूँगा and all that. And Robin is like, dude, मत बदला ले, क्या कर रहा है? And he tries to talk him out of it. Then, when this conversation is happening, something follows this conversation. And what follows this conversation is something that we've all seen in terms of pop culture references or online or on the internet. What are we talking about?
Is this the plot of Aakhri Rasta, starring Amitabh Bachchan and Meena and Sadashiv Amrapurkar?
वरुण भाई आपको तो पता है मैं नागराज सुपर कमांडो ध्रुव वाला हूँ ना. बैटमैन रॉबिन के बीच में क्या बात हुआ और वो क्या पॉप कल्चर रेफरेंस था, मतलब ये कहाँ से बताऊंगा.
ये क्वेश्चन मेरा नेमेसिस है.
यार वो क्या पॉप कल्चर रेफरेंस हो सकता है, मतलब
पास करो गाइस, पास करो.
यार क्या ईस्ट कोस्ट वेस्ट कोस्ट की लड़ाई को डिस्कस कर रहे हैं क्या?
नहीं, नॉट ईस्ट कोस्ट वेस्ट कोस्ट लड़ाई. गोइंग टू विशाल.
उसने क्या बोला था? उसने ये बोला था कि भाई जोकर आया हुआ है, उससे लड़ पहले. नहीं पता.
Okay, passing to Anirban.
Just ये second part of the question एक बार फिर से बताएगा क्या?
So Batman basically Robin के पास जाता है और बोलता है कि मैं सुपरमैन से बदला लेने वाला हूँ, मेरा ये प्लान है. हाँ. Robin बोलता है dude मत बदला ले. He tries to talk him out and then something happens, and what happens is something that all of us have seen in a different form, in some shape and form. What are we talking?
If Anirban gets this now, I'm going to slap you, KV, very hard.
It's just a very wild guess. Is it that thing? Yeah, that dialogue that I'll find you.
Sorry.
That dialogue that I'll find you. वैसे मतलब I'll find you and I'll like do something वैसा कुछ.
So that Taken dialogue.
हाँ, Taken. हाँ. Okay.
No, Neville.
It's the slap wala meme where Batman and Robin.
Oh shit.
Oh.
All of us have seen.
Yeah.
Basically, Batman gets pissed. He slaps Robin, and this is the meme that we all.
Yeah, Anirban, तेरे को hint भी दिया था मैं.
क्या hint दिया था?
I did not react when he said, "I will
Yeah,
slap."
yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
are helping him more than I am helping.
I was like, shit. Oh shit! Why did I say the word slap? It came out like that.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
So this इसका template वही रहता है. Someone starts saying something and बीच में 10 Batman का वो रहता है and ऐसे हो
चलो
जाता है.
कुछ तो सीख के जाऊंगा.
Okay. We are now at an important juncture in the
By
quiz.
the way, nobody has read this comic. This is just based on KV's hints of just guess the most populist thing that you can think of for an answer.
Pop culture reference, internet, Batman, that all of us
Yeah.
have comics पढ़ने का कुछ भी वो नहीं था. Cool. Okay, first half of the quiz is done. We'll now reverse the order from Vishal, Nihal, Neville, Anirban. It's time to also share the score. So 28 to Anirban, 50 to Neville. Mochi to Mocha, Netscape Navigator, Matt Damon, and Batman slaps Robin, and Holocaust. Okay, cool. 50 to Neville. Neville is leading by a long margin right now. Anirban behind him with 28, and Nihal and Vishal behind them. Okay. Starting with Vishal now. Second half of the quiz begins now. This non-migratory bird in picture is found majorly in Indian subcontinent and is the inspiration behind the name of a much talked about place from Delhi this year. Identify the place in Delhi that we are talking about.
Shaheen Bagh.
Shaheen Bagh is correct. 10 points to Vishal.
No, great answer.
10 points to Vishal. Shaheen Bagh is named after Shaheen Falcon.
Great answer. Great answer.
Shaheen Falcon on your right. Great answer. 10 points to Vishal. Next, direct to Nihal. Okay. We're talking about a book, dash dash, how German soccer reinvented itself and conquered the world. Okay. This is a book about German football's revival that led to their 2014 FIFA World Cup victory. Okay. So the name of the book, the dash dash, so it's a two-word thing, is a term derived from a 1973 German novel adapted into a very popular 1981 German war film. Okay, so let's look at all the hints. We're talking about a German novel, first of all, from 70s, adapted into a war film in early 80s. But the other hint is that it talks about revival. Okay, so revival is another hint. And it's a famous book about how German footballs revived and eventually ended up winning the FIFA World Cup in 2014. What is the two-word book name that we are talking about?
By German war film, KV, you mean it's not a Hollywood film, it's a German film.
Yes, it's not a Hollywood film, it's a German.
Pass.
Passing to Neville.
यार ये Mein Kampf तो obviously नहीं है. So I'm just trying to think of
Wolf Love.
1981 German film. I don't know. I'm just going completely out of the park here. Is it Beckenbauer's List?
No, not Beckenbauer. Going to Anirban now.
So this is an English phrase or a German phrase?
ये पूछ लेना चाहिए था क्या आदमी है मैं भी.
So I can't say because two people have already guessed.
Okay. So I just have one term in my mind, but I have no idea what it means. Okay, but it just fits here because pehla blank chota hai or second blank bada hai, but I don't even know that whether it's a term. Is it something like die, man shaft, something on those lines?
Itna nahi. Okay. Vishal.
Pass.
We'll start one more round with 5 points now.
Okay.
So in terms of German English thing that Anirban asked, first word is German, but that's very simple German article. Okay. Second word is an English word that we use for use a lot in terms of computer or phone, but mainly computers when we talk about revival. So what is the word that you use to sort of resume things all over again?
God!
So what is that word? That word will be enough. Then the first word is just a German equivalent of.
Oh God!
Very
Great
English
hint. Bus, KV, bus.
मतलब is it Das Renaissance?
Not Das Renaissance, but yeah, going to Neville.
Anirban Das Gupta boot. Das boot.
Uh, very close. I'll give you one more chance to improve your answer, Neville.
Oh, Das reboot?
Das Reboot, of course, it is
Thank
Das.
God. Oh, I was getting too cocky with Das Gupta. Das Boot is the movie, so therefore, okay, sorry.
Das Boot is the movie. Das Reboot is when you basically story of revival.
Yeah.
5 points to Neville. In fact, 4 points to Neville. I'll give 1 to Nihal for Das, and bulk of the points to Neville. 4 points.
एक दो पॉइंट चुरा रहा हूँ यार.
Also, this would have been great if in the final of the 2014 World Cup, if Germany got a red card, because then only 10 people would have won it. So it would be 10 boot. Wow, what?
Neville for wordplay and mathematics. Das Reboot, how German football reinvented itself and conquered the world. Next direct is to Anirban because Neville got Das Reboot. Anirban, this is a line from the famous song Kajrare from Bunty और Bubbly. बल्ली मारा से दरीबे तलक तेरी मेरी कहानी दिल्ली में. Okay, so the बल्ली मारान से दरीबे तलक, by some theory, I mean it's not officially a theory, but like all of us know that writers and poets have their own ode or homage to other people. Apparently, this is an ode by Gulzar to another Urdu poet who lived in Balli Maran Haveli of Delhi in the 19th century. Just tell me who is the poet that we are talking about. Talking about a renowned Urdu poet, lived in Delhi, 19th century, and important enough to be given an ode by Gulzar more than 100 years after that. कैसा लग रहा है निहाल भाई? ऐसा लगता है ना जब आपको आ रहा होता है और आपके बीच में ऐसे दीवार खड़ी होती है 2-3 लोगों की.
मतलब जर्मनी का उसकी भाषा में जवाब देना है. यहाँ अपनी भाषा का सवाल किसी और के पास है. क्या ही कहें, पानी पी सकते हैं.
Okay, Anirban.
Oh fuck, it's ulta, no? It doesn't come to me next. Shit.
Anirban, Vishal, Nihal, Neville.
Oh, फिर तो छोड़ो फिर.
Lived in Balli Maran Haveli in Delhi. Is it that Ibn Battuta, that person?
Not that even Batuta. Vishal now.
Almost.
Mirza Ghalib, Chandni Chowk.
Correct.
10 points to Vishal.
Ghalib, yes.
It is Ghalib. Ghalib is what we're talking about. Ghalib used to live in Port Delhi during the reign of Bahadur Shah Zafar.
Only 19th century poet we know that was played by Nasiruddin Shah on DD. That's the only reason why.
I was like, this question, तो जिसको भी आएगा, the only one name दे दो Ghalib तो
Only
And
Ghalib
I have been to his Haveli also. और उधर ताला भी नहीं लगा हुआ है. वो ऐसे ही
वो पहले
पड़ी रही
प्रिंटिंग
खुली.
काफी साल तक वो प्रिंटिंग प्रेस ही था. उनका
हाँ,
जो
नीचे सिगरेट का दुकान है, बस वो बंद करके जाता है उसे.
वो गुलजार साहब ने रिवाइव किया उस हवेली को. He invested his own money actually.
अटल जी ने रिवाइव किया
जी
एक्चुअली.
ने काफी कुछ, हाँ, वो that story is also there. Okay, going to Nihal bhai now after Vishal got it. Nihal, Dash was a famous Confederate general with monuments all over southern USA. Okay? He was also the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Okay, Ku Klux Klan, as we know, is the white supremacist group, and he was one of their first Grand Wizards. But the reason we know of this name is because his name was also the inspiration behind the name of a very famous character in a film that featured people like John Lennon and Richard Nixon posthumously. Just give me the surname of the general. Okay, now let's look at all the hints.
Gump.
Trump?
Forrest Gump.
Forrest, it is Forrest Gump Funda. I'll give it to you. The surname I'm looking for was Forrest. 10 points to Nihal. This is the Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest, and he lent his name to the first name of Forrest.
Forrest Gump.
10 points to Nihal. While we move to Neville. Neville, this is your direct. This is a Funda question. While it was taken as a truth for around 100 years, making it the butt of many jokes and writings, as well as lending its name to a psychological phenomenon, this claim has now been refuted, like in recent years. These are the factors because of which this belief apparently spread. This is a non-exhaustive list of the factors. First factor is that maybe this was British propaganda. Second, because it was average, something was average for a French peasant, but not a general or aristocrat. Third, someone we are talking about, he was always accompanied by members of the elite guard who were well endowed. What are we talking about? Okay, there are reasons that a lot of things in this question are not named and pronouns have been used, like what was average for French peasant, but was not average for general or aristocrat. Someone was always accompanied by members of elite guard, and maybe it was British propaganda. Because of all that, there is some sort of a myth or like something that had been a thing for many years, and in fact, it has also lent its name to a certain psychological phenomenon, which is called the dash something. But of late, research in the recent years and everything has proved this to be wrong. This common belief. Okay, what are we talking about? You can have a look at the slide. Aram se, take your time and tell me the answer.
This 100 years of making it the butt of many jokes and writings, it wasn't a butt of many jokes and writings when it was taken as the truth, right? It became a butt of jokes and writings once it was demystified, once it was refuted.
No. It was
No,
part of the
it
joke
was
or the myth. Once it's refuted, it's like no. But it is. I don't want to explain much. That's why I'm saying like just look at the slide and read it carefully. Look at all the hints in the slide and give me your answer.
it was average. The myth was average for a French peasant, but it was not.
Something was average for a French peasant. That's all I can say. Something was average for a French peasant, but probably not for a general or aristocrat.
But it was good for them or bad for them. That also you can't say.
Yeah, no.
The Robin Hood complex, the Robin Hood phenomenon.
Okay, not the Robin Hood concept. Anirban?
Is it Hitler?
No, not Hitler. Vishal?
It's Napoleon.
Yeah, can you explain more after Napoleon?
Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon complex, anything. Napoleon Bonaparte.
No, I know Napoleon Bonaparte. I know Napoleon complex.
Nep-
But what about Napoleon are we talking about?
His height.
His height, absolutely correct. These are the two keywords I was looking for. 10 points to Vishal. We are talking about Napoleon being shot. That has been a thing for years and years.
Fuck, man.
And a lot of people believe that this was mainly a British propaganda. His height was average for a French peasant, but not maybe for a general or aristocrat. Also, he was usually accompanied by members of elite guard who are usually well endowed and tall people. But in recent years, it has been sort of refuted. That Napoleon itna chota bhi nahi tha. Yeah, and Napoleon complex is a psychological condition where people in short height are generally very aggressive and they try to compensate by doing a lot of. Okay, cool. Great answer by Vishal. Hitler thing didn't match the timeline. That's the issue.
Yeah. Also, French wala, I thought it's not matching, but I had no other answer.
Cool, great answer. Now we move to Nihal. This is Nihal's correct. Okay, the National Cathedral in Washington DC is one of the most interesting places of worship. Okay, it's not a normal place of worship. It has like a lot of interesting things. For example, it has a sculpture of Darth Vader. It has stones brought from Westminster Abbey. It has stones brought from Mount Sinai. Okay, there is a foundation stone. The foundation stone of the National Cathedral is taken from Church of Nativity in Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. One of them is from Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. So it's like very, very interesting place basically. This place, this National Cathedral, features a stained glass window called Space Window. Okay, Space Window, and that behind that window, there is 7 grams of X, which is stored in an airtight nitrogen-filled capsule. Just tell me what are we talking about? What is X? 7 grams of dash. What is dash? And this,
10 grams of X.
yeah. Behind the space window, that's called space window. That's a hint. Space window के पीछे क्या रखा हुआ है 7 ग्राम?
7 grams of airtight nitrogen filled capsule.
Airtight nitrogen filled capsule. It's called space window. उसके पीछे 7 grams of something is kept. What is kept there?
यार सोचता हूँ तो मेरे दिमाग में दो चीजें हैं.
हाँ सोचिए आराम से 30 सेकंड
I give it some time.
हाँ आराम से.
यार is it 7 grams of soil of Mars?
Good track, not the right answer, but good track.
Moon. देखो देखो मेरा पहला आंसर मून था.
ठीक है, I'm scrapping this. I can't give anyone points for this. The answer is moon rock.
It's moon rock. Yeah.
Rock brought from the Apollo 11. No one gets any point. This question is scrapped. For the last round of questions, we have 4 questions now for the 4 of you. We'll start with Neville since the last direct was for Nihal. And yeah, last 4 questions. All the best. Let's see. This is Neville's direct. Slightly long question, but enough hint here and there. Greek mythology, X was said to submit to Zeus for his misdeeds, and he was punished accordingly. However, later writers painted him as a complex hero, drawing comparisons with Satan in Paradise Lost. Many writers like Shelley and Byron have both rewrote this character to show him as unrepentant. Unrepentant, as we all know, means like does not have repented about what he did in the past. The novel Y, now here comes the main hints. Okay, second para has the main hints. The novel Y is subtitled The Modern X. Okay, so Y, The Modern X, in reference to the novel's overarching theme. And the novel's overarching theme is this: the pursuit of knowledge leads to both great wisdom and great danger. Okay, so this is the big clue for at least Y. Okay, pursuit of knowledge leads to both great danger and great wisdom. That will give you a clue towards Y. And for X, you need to go back to the first para about this story of a complex hero who was punished by Zeus. But a lot of people think that, you know,
do I get 5 points for one of them?
You do, absolutely. You do.
Okay.
There's no pounds and all. So on direct, anything you get part points.
The novel Y, subtitle The Modern X, reference to the novel's overarching theme, which is the pursuit of knowledge leads to both great wisdom and great danger. It's a famous novel, or?
Yeah. Famous name. I mean, why is the more famous between the two? But that's my personal, like, for someone X might be more famous. So don't think.
It's one word, no?
Yeah, both are one word. X and Y both are one word answers.
Okay, I'm just going for it because I'm running out of time. But is X one of the names of devil? So, for example, like Mephistopheles, any one of these names of the devil. So the modern devil or the modern Mephistopheles or the modern one of these names, and is Y. I don't know. I pass. Sorry. I can't crack it.
No, sir.
It's here, but.
Anirban?
I have just not read any books for 20 years, I think. Just thinking.
Okay. Anirban?
Alchemist.
And X? Just
Oh, no idea. Pass.
nothing to Vishal.
So the novel is Frankenstein and the Modern Prometheus.
Absolutely perfect answer. Frankenstein.
Wow.
Prometheus. 10 points to Vishal. It is Prometheus.
Well done. I can't believe I didn't get it.
Okay. Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus. 10 points to Vishal. We now go to Nihal.
Yep.
Nihal, New Zealand tour of India in 2012 included 2 T20 internationals. Now the second one, the latter, saw New Zealand win by 1 run, courtesy Brandon McCullum's 91 of 55. However, this match was memorable because of an Indian player for a very emotional reason. Okay, that's the hint. The reason is not cricketing in nature. It's a emotional reason. Tell me the player and what was the reason. The extra hint is that this player scored 34 of 26 that day, but उससे आंसर नहीं निकलेगा, आंसर बाकी चीजों से निकलेगा. So look at the timeline. We're talking about 2012. New Zealand came to India. Second match, New Zealand won. But the match is more important than New Zealand victory because people remember, and this match was in news because of an emotional reason. Because of an emotional reason associated with a certain Indian player. Who was the player and what was the reason?
Tendulkar's last match T20.
Not Tendulkar's last T20. Going to Neville.
Is it Virat and because his father passed away?
Not Virat and father passed away. Going to Anirban. But I like the track. It's nothing cricketing in nature. It is something personal out of cricket. Anirban.
Is this Yuvraj Singh?
Yuvraj Singh is the player you're saying. And what is the emotional reason?
Come back from cancer.
Yeah, absolutely perfect answer is what I was looking for. Yuvraj Singh's first match for India post cancer treatment. 10 points to Anirban. Great crack. This I was about to say Anirban scored 34 of 26. Yuvraj scored 34 of 26 in that match. And people remember this because he came back from cancer and the entire.
I knew I was going to kill myself for this fucking shit.
Cool. 2 more questions. Going to Vishal now. Vishal, this is your direct. This is one of my favorite questions. Before Michigan became a state, deer were very aplenty there. Deer were so plentiful that their skin, like deer skin, was used as a currency. Okay, the hides were sold for $1 a piece, leading to a certain practice. Okay, what practice are we talking about in terms of this is also in terms of practice? Like think of language in the sense language. We're talking about some origin. Okay, origin of funda related to some word. So not a human practice की like whatever चांद को ऐसे करके देखते थे ऐसा वैसा कुछ.
क्रैक हो सकता है या पता होना चाहिए.
200% पता है हम पांचों को. Sure. Before Michigan became a state, deer, and that's a clue. Deer were so plentiful that deer skin was used as currency. Second hint is currency. Hides, they were sold for $1 a piece, leading to a certain practice. Okay, what practice are we talking about? Extra hint that I've given to narrow down your thought process is don't think of social practice. Think of something to do with language or words.
Is it something to relate? Something related to buck, like how many bucks are left? Like currency is used as buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct. Practice of using the term $1 for $1 came from 10 points to Vishal.
Great answer.
$1 for $1. Great answer. And which brings us to the last question of the quiz. This is Nihal's direct. You guys can think there's a lot of mythology question, but it's not, to be honest. Like one Greek mythology question was actually a literature question. One Greek mythology, the nemesis was actually a etymology English question. This again is a brand question and not really a mythology question. In Greek mythology, Dash or X is the goddess of the night. Okay, goddess of the night. So terrifying is her visage, as in her appearance, her face. Even Zeus is terrified of her. Today, she lends her name to a professional makeup brand by L'Oreal. Extra hint is there in terms of visual. I've removed the brand. Tell me what brand are we talking about? This is the last question of the quiz of the first semi-final.
So the goddess has hair of snake, and her name is Medusa.
Not Medusa.
Medusa.
Passing to Neville.
I don't know. Like, is it? I can't believe I'm going to say this. Is it like Nyx and Nika?
I'll give you a chance to improve your answer. You already are getting bulk of points, but I want you to give your final answer for certain reason.
Okay. You want the name of the goddess, not the brand.
Yeah, tell me the goddess of the night.
The Nyx.
Yeah, Nyx is also the name of the brand. I don't know why you went to Nykaa. That's why you wanted me to give another guess.
Oh,
You get 10 points for Nyx.
oh.
And that Nyx answer, you also won the quiz.
What?
You were on 54. In case you hadn't cracked this, then Vishal would have won this quiz. But you cracked Nyx and you won the quiz. So, time for the score for everyone who was watching. Anirban ends at 38. Neville had 50 in the first half and he had 4 points till the last. So he was on 54. And Vishal had 10 in the first half and he was on 60 before the next question. Like with $1, he reached 60. So if Neville hadn't cracked next, then it would have gone to Vishal. If Vishal had cracked, or even Anirban had cracked, then Vishal would have reached the final. So literally the final, this match was decided on the last question. And Neville ends on 64. Nihal is on 23. Vishal ends on 60. But we had some wonderful answer. Cat out of the bag, Dharamshala, Matt Damon, Batman Slap, Shaheen Bagh, Ghalib, Forest, Napoleon being shot. That was my personal favorite answer. Moon Rock, Frankenstein, Yuvraj Post Cancer, $1, Nyx, Holocaust, Mount Everest.
Advertising का कुछ तो फायदा हुआ.
Advertising का I think आपको एक दो बार
दो बार फायदा हुआ. नहीं. नहीं वो तो Riaz Amlani, we know that. You said na shisha and all that, bro, in that question.
Yeah, 2, 3, and.
But great quiz, man.
Great quiz, man. Well done, Neville, Vishal, Nihal.
Well done, Neville.
So, anyone who is watching, Neville qualifies from this semi-final to the final. He becomes the first finalist of KVizzing With The Comedians second edition. Thank you so much once more to Anirban, Nihal, and Vishal.